Seriously Sinister discusses true petty crimes that may be disturbing to some.
Or it could be easy listening to all of you psychopaths out there.
Names and places have been changed to protect the hosts legally.
Listener discretion is not advised. Seriously Sinister.
Welcome to Seriously Sinister, the show that bets on Pee-wee soccer games just to make them more interesting. This is Trevin.
And I'm Amanda. Oh, Pee-wee soccer games. Gotta love them.
I don't.
Everyone just kicking in a circle.
Actually, I don't really like soccer in general.
Really?
Yeah, my brother was a little soccer star, so I went to a lot of soccer games.
Oh, that damn soccer star.
But as I got older and as it got colder, my mom would spike our hot chocolates when we would go watch them.
Yeah.
So betting, drinking, it makes it all better.
It does. It does. Now, what is your dreadful dilemma this week, Trevin?
My dreadful dilemma has to do with our awesome convention that's coming up.
Okay.
So I'm going on this vacation, and I probably won't go into too much detail because that will probably be a dilemma later. But we're preparing to do this and trying to save money. You know, we just got into this house less than a year ago, and I am trying to build up some money for it.
Yeah.
So I've been donating plasma to have a little extra spending money because trips aren't cheap these days.
No, nothing's cheap these days.
No, nothing is. So I have been donating plasma, and it's such a weird thing because I go in there and there's all these posters that say, hey, thanks for saving lives and thanks for this. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's great. I know the way our healthcare is. The person that they're using to say that, it's like that person only got their life saved because insurance paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
But what I think is funny is I went in because I had a special deal where it was like, hey, we'll pay you $800 this month. If you go in, you have to go twice a week for 4 weeks. We'll pay $800. Great, $800 is going to do wonders for this vacation.
Right.
And then after you're done with it, after you're a normal person, you make $20 the first day and then $60 the second. So it's $80 a week after that. I'm like, well, that doesn't sound as exciting or works for me the same. And then I thought to myself, wait a minute, if these people can afford to pay me $800 a month to do this, how much money do you think this company's actually getting selling this blood? So then I came up with this great money-making idea. I am going to get my own blood-sucking machine, and I'm going to start harvesting my own blood. And then I'm going to work on my salesman skills, and I'm just going to go up with vials of blood and say, hey, hospital, you want to buy this for me? Because I'll undercut.
And you guys, when he said that, he opened up his hands like he had a briefcase of blood to sell.
Yes. So let's say I'm getting paid $100 a week to give blood. They're selling it for $1,000. They're making all this overhead. I'll just go up to the hospitals and say, hey, I'll give you this good blood for $600 a week.
Dude, do you know how creepy you would look? Hey, anyone need some blood?
Yeah, I promise it's clean.
Oh my God.
So that's just my idea. I think if I can get this to work, I can make more money.
That sounds like a lot of work, Trevin. And also, I know how you feel about salesmen. I'm not doubting you. I think you could do it. You have a lot of willpower, and I'm sure you could maybe succeed, but it sounds like a lot.
Yeah, and I don't like salesmen because I feel like they BS their way through things that they don't care about. But I can tell you firsthand, this is good blood.
And you care about your blood.
Yeah, I can tell you everything that went into it.
Wow. Well, that is dreadful. And I also have a dreadful dilemma that has to do with bodily fluids.
Oh, delicious.
How nasty. Anyway, have you heard of a product called the Nose Frida?
Nose Frida.
It's a baby-related thing, so I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I mean, that's not the little like squeezy thing that you suck the boogers out with, right?
So it's not a squeezy thing, but
Oh, you suck it.
Yes, but it does. So for everyone out there who doesn't know what a nose Frida is, it's a very disgusting and disturbing tool. But let me also say, it is extremely helpful and gets the job done. So, babies, they can't blow their own noses or do whatever. So you have to suck their boogers out. Okay, so
You can't blow, so I'll suck.
it's so weird. But anyway, so a nose Frida, it has like a tube that goes into the nose, and then there's like a even smaller little like cord that leads to a mouthpiece, and you suck out their snot. I will post pictures of this on our social media just so everyone can see what it looks
I'm looking one up right now.
Are you?
Yeah.
So it does have a filter. So it's not like you're just, sucking the snot into your... Okay, this is going to be such a nasty episode. And it is number 69, so okay.
I forgot to say something about that.
But there is a filter, so it collects all the nasty stuff. So, like I said, it's a really weird piece of equipment, but it works really well. So my dreadful dilemma is that, especially after all of us healed from COVID, Winnie had a little bit of buildup in her nose, so I've been using this weird contraption. And I used it the other day, and instead of it just being snot that was in the tube, I sucked out an ant from her nose.
I was expecting blood.
No. So I don't know about your house, but we've been having ants come inside like a lot, crazy.
Yeah, we've been fighting a bit.
Yeah. So it really disturbed me. And now I just think that ants are in everybody's body. Every time I feel something weird in my ear, I'm like, that's an ant in there. It's going to ruin my hearing. Like, I am just so paranoid now that there are ants in all of my family members.
Oh my gosh. You find out Jordan's just a bunch of ants in a trench coat.
I find his zipper and I undo him.
No.
Oh my God. But the ant was dead, so I don't know.
At least there's that.
I know. I'm like, at least it wasn't alive in her nose. It just creeped me out so bad, Trevin. You have no idea.
Wow. That's pretty dreadful.
Yeah, so there is that. But so we are going to be doing 2 truths and a lie this week.
I've got 3 wires. Which one do I cut?
I'll give you 2 truths and a lie.
But wait, we don't have time for this.
We are, and it is my day to go first.
So excited. Bring it on.
So I want to talk about an animal that I don't even like.
Oh, okay.
Horses.
You don't like horses?
Oh, hell no. Horses are gross.
Oh, I did not know that about you.
They're big and scary, and they got big teeth. And those are 3 truths right there. No lies. So I thought I would just throw out some facts about horses because I was having a hard time thinking of things, and I was like, I don't know, horses are funny, so.
All right. And you know what? I don't know very much about horses at all, so wish me luck.
Well, good luck to you.
Okay.
Here are 2 truths and a lie about horses. 1. The oldest horse to ever live has his head on display in a museum. 2. Horses are known to be remorseful and feel guilt for their actions. Or 3. Horses can't throw up.
Weird. Okay. I feel like every time we do this segment, I'm like, there are 2 truths and there's a lie. Like, I have to remind myself. I'm going to go with number 2, that it's a lie that horses feel remorse.
And you are right. They are spawns of Satan, and they feel no remorse.
I guess that one's strictly because of your disdain for them.
Yes. So the oldest horse to ever live was 62 years old, went by the name of Old Billy.
Old Billy?
And somewhere in England, they put his head on display.
Wow.
I don't know. It sounds like Old Billy committed a heinous crime right when he died, and they were just like, we gotta make an example out of him.
Oh my God, what a weird way to honor him. Like, off with his head and up on our wall.
Yeah, everybody else look at his head.
That's so weird.
And then horses can't throw up. They can't burp or throw up. The way their body is made, for some reason, things can only go in one direction. I guess it's commonly known that horses can't throw up.
Okay, well, I did not know that. But now that you mention it, the way their bodies are, I mean, they do have like the long torsos and then their neck obviously goes up. But I don't know. I guess I just can't picture a horse throwing up. I'm trying to picture that in my mind.
I'm trying to think.
Like a hairball with a cat.
I'm trying to think of what movie it was. It was a Leslie Nielsen movie, one of those like silly movies like Naked Gun or something. It might have been the movie Spy Hard. But there's a part where like something nasty happens and like everybody in the room throws up. And it's one of those movie scenes where like they're throwing up like a lot of like liquid.
Yeah.
And then they look over at a horse and it goes, no! And it just like shoots a huge stream out of the horse's mouth. So when I read that, I was like, no way. I was taught a lie at such a young age at this comedy movie. I thought it was very smart.
Oh my God. Wow, I'm so sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so I also have 2 truths and a lie, and I'm actually really into this one. Like, I love it so much and found it to be so fascinating.
Oh, I'm so glad that you love yours.
Before I go into the 2 truths and a lie, I have just a little bit of a thing I want to say about it.
Okay.
So, Jim Lewis and Jim Springer were identical twins that were raised separately in Ohio growing up. So, they were adopted out to 2 separate families.
That's why they didn't know they were giving them both the same first name.
Right. Isn't that weird to start off? Yes. So, the 2 men reunited at age 39 and discovered that they had very eerily similar lives. So which of the following things did the 2 men have in common? Obviously, there's 2 truths and 1 lie. Is it 1? Both had childhood dogs named Toy. Is it 2? Both had sisters named Susan. Or is it 3? Both named their sons James Allen.
Oh, wow. It's all about names.
I know. It's a hard one, especially if you haven't heard of these guys.
What year was this again?
Oh, gosh.
Or time?
Well, I think they were reunited fairly recently, but they were 39 when they were reunited. I don't remember the year they were born. I should have written that down.
Okay, so this wasn't like 40s or something. This was not that long ago.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say the lie. No, I don't want to say the lie. I don't want to say it's that. I'll say it's the sister Susan.
Oh my God, you got it right too.
Oh, good.
Both of our lies were in the middle this week. That's funny.
I was so scared because I thought Toy is stupid. Toy is a terrible name. Toy, that's got to be like the 1940s. And then I thought, no, because Toy is too weird for you to have just made up.
Yeah. No, you got it. So both of them did have childhood dogs named Toy. Both of them named their sons James Allen, but I have more that I want to share too. So other weird similarities. Both men, so not only you pointed out they're both named Jim, but both of them had 2 marriages. Their first marriage was to a woman named Linda. Their second marriage was to a woman named Betty. I'm sorry, that's just so unbelievable to me.
That is weird.
They both married a Linda, then they both married a Betty. Both men drove blue Chevrolets. Both men were heavy smokers. And they both had similar jobs. One was a security guard and another was a deputy sheriff. And now another really creepy fact, and this is the last one, they both frequently vacationed at the exact same Florida beach. So they could have run into each other all throughout their lives. They always both vacationed at the same spot.
And just barely missed each other.
Dude, can you believe? And also, that's really sad to adopt out identical twins and separate them. I feel like identical twins need to stay together.
And they didn't know they had a twin.
I don't know.
I feel like you've got to be told that kind of a thing.
I know.
If I saw that I had a twin, I would like try to kill them because I would think there's something, like a time traveler or something.
Right, I know.
You don't just surprise somebody with a twin, you know?
I don't know if they knew and they just didn't meet till they were older, but the fact that it was 39, I feel like they didn't know.
Yeah, that's how I would think.
But I'll have to look that up too. I found a really interesting article on the Ripley's Believe It or Not website. And then also, I've been watching Unexplained with William Shatner on Netflix recently, which, kind of a side note, but he kind of inspired the way I wrote my petty crime story today.
Oh, no.
I think I've just been watching too many episodes of him talking that I kind of like picked up on the way he is. It's really weird.
His goofy cadence.
Yeah. Isn't that bizarre though?
That is bizarre and really, really interesting. Wow. Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, just like the wives' names and...
I know. And apparently on the one episode of Unexplained, they talked about it. And this woman does specific studies with identical twins that are raised separately. And most of them have eerily similar lives.
My question is, which one's the evil one?
Right. There's always got to be someone that's evil, right?
Right. There's got to be an evil twin.
So are we ready for stories?
We're ready for stories.
Okay.
So this week, I am doing a listener story.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you were doing one.
Yes, I've got a listener story from my new friend, Helle.
Okay.
She is from Norway.
That's right. Okay, yes, you did tell me about her. That is so cool. We have a listener in Norway.
Yes. She told me, and I'm just going to tell you now, I'm probably going to emphasize her name really oddly because it takes a lot of brain power for me to remember to say it right.
Okay.
She told me it's like Helen without the N. So I say Helle.
Oh, Helle. Yeah.
Yeah,
that
you
is
almost
hard.
you have to like emphasize that E at the end pretty hard, or at least for me to remember to do it.
Yeah, because I'm like, Helle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's really pretty, though.
Yeah, I like it. She's been very nice to talk to. She's answered every question I've had, been very helpful. She's given me creative reign to do what I will with her story. I will say hardly adding much untrueness to it because her story is good enough. But the only thing that she asked me was that no matter what I do not make her straight. So...
Hey, you know what?
She gave me the story during June and she said, it's Pride Month. Please don't make me straight. She said, men just need to stop.
You know what? I'm with you, girl. I really am.
I'm with her too. It didn't offend me one bit to hear that. I was like, you're right.
Trevin's one of us. We all know this.
Yeah.
He's team woman all the way.
For sure. So if any part of this story seems a little forced, you know why.
Okay.
So, yeah, let's get into this and we can talk about it afterwards.
I cannot wait.
All right. And here we go. We've talked a lot about animals and our love for them here on our show. From Amanda's first dreadful dilemma about being a cat mom to my many, many issues with Boots. Pets are a recurring theme in these episodes. I had an early opening line where I dubbed us the show about cats, crime, and nothing in between. And even had to put a 1-month limit on how long I had to go without an animal-related dilemma. But let's be entirely honest. I love my animals more than most things in life. They just happen to find ways of making my life very, very dreadful.
Oh God, Boots is puking on the rug again.
It's no secret that Amanda and I love animals. They are like our children. Even with Amanda now having 2 human children, she has not stopped being obsessed with her big, fluffy-butted friends. We even dedicated our Friday social media posts to Fur Baby Friday, where we spotlight listeners' pets by posting their pet photos and giving fun facts about them. Our belief is that it feels good for us to show off our pets, and we want you all to have the same feeling. Our larger social media following should be subjected to the babies that bring you joy. I've always been a cat connoisseur of sorts. Growing up on a farm, and with a dad who was allergic to cats, I was always told that I can have as many cats as I want, as long as they remain outside. And I did just that. I remember sitting on my parents' front porch as a small child, playing with a Play-Doh salon set, surrounded by an army of feline observers. And for any of you who don't know, Boots and I's origin story was that of a very powerful sort. I had made it through a very dark time in my life and had just gotten out of a mentally abusive relationship. In fact, one way that I made sure I would not continue the on-again, off-again relationship pattern with my ex was by getting Boots. I knew if I had a little kitty to take care of, I would never let a significant other rule my entire being again. Boots had become the mascot of my positive mental health. The entire rebuilding phase of my life after the tumultuous time was all done with Boots by my side. Losing my depression weight, hard therapy appointments, and just finding who I was. It was all with his support and companionship. Now, he's just a grumpy guy who has to live with all the other animals I brought into his space, who occasionally cusses in my TikTok videos. Even as an old grump, I think he's still happy. Today's listener story follows the bond between one girl and her fur baby that will leave you all asking yourselves, how far would I go for my pet? Would you work a second job to handle vet bills? Would you build them a second home if they didn't get along with your new baby? Or would you even commit a petty crime? Let's dive into the story and see how far this listener was willing to go for that sweet fur baby love. Helle was a 21-year-old girl living in Trondheim, Norway in 2018. The youngest of two sisters, Helle spent a lot of her youth in the shadows of her older siblings. Even at the age of 8, when her family surprised the kids with a rescue pup in their advent calendar, Helle had to fight to retain her place in the family hierarchy. With the adoption of Santa, Helle was no longer the smallest and cutest thing in the family. Like a lower-class American keeping an even lower-class American down, Helle had to turn her focus towards maintaining the second-to-last spot in the family. Jealousy took over her little 8-year-old heart as fears of what could happen if Santa was able to surpass her. What if Santa was able to bump her out of the second-to-last spot while still being considered the smallest and cutest of the family? Helle stared down the very real possibility of sleeping at the foot of someone else's bed and eating her food from a bowl on the floor. But as the years went on, Helle grew closer and closer to Santa. She eventually stopped viewing him as her cute competition and more as a sweet sibling. Their bond grew stronger, and what I can only imagine was a sweet montage similar to Disney's movie Up. Helle and Santa would celebrate birthdays together, split popcorn during Friday movie nights, and even when Helle came down with an incredibly powerful case of mono, Santa was there to comfort and support her through the entire thing.
Thank you, Santa.
This was love. Throughout the years of the two growing up, Helle's family was known to do a lot of traveling. The US, Canada, Sri Lanka, Tanzania, and New Zealand were just a small number of the places her and her family would visit. But each time they would go, they would come back to a very sad and heartbroken Santa. Due to his past as being a rescue, Santa had a very bad case of separation anxiety. The family would leave him with friends, extended family, and even his hired dog walker. But it was no use. Every time they would return, Santa would lose weight and be a shell of himself. This was the case until Helle's mother decided to try a fancy dog hotel on the side of a mountain halfway between their home and the city they would fly out from, Oslo. The drive to Oslo ran about 6 hours, so at the 3-hour mark, the family would take a pit stop at the Mountainside Dog Resort to drop Santa off. This turned out to be a success. Santa was treated like a king. While the family was out visiting a new foreign land, Santa was working on his tan by the pool while sipping Mai Tais and having cucumber slices over his eyelids. He never wanted to leave. And not only that, the hotel did a great job of keeping the family up to date on pictures of him and stories of how happy he was. This became a tradition for Helle and her family. Years went by and the family continued traveling, knowing that Santa was also having a little vacation of his own. That was until the end of their 2018 family vacation, when everything changed. Due to the location of the family's Norwegian home, there was a lot of logistical loops that had to be jumped through in order to pull off these vacations. Not only was it a 6-hour drive to the airport, But that smaller plane would usually need to drive to another small airport before taking a long drive to another larger airport. These trips were full-on adventures. After completing the majority of their travels and landing in Oslo, the family was home free. Only 6 more hours of driving, and they would be home. Unfortunately, though, Helle's mother had received a text from the hotel. Different from the usual happy picture text, this one read much differently. "Yeah, we're closing early because we want to go to a barn party. You'll have to pick up your dog tomorrow."
This is preposterous!
Helle's mother wailed.
They can't keep me from my dog. I prepaid, and they knew the exact time we would be arriving.
Helle's father attempted to calm her down, but she was not having it. Her mother slumped down in silence as she began a text argument with the management. Back and forth, all Helle could hear from the back seat was furious typing, angry grumbles, and phone notification tones back. Eventually, though, they stopped.
They stopped responding!
Helle's mother frustratedly yelled.
What are we gonna do, honey?
Her father asked.
There's no point in making the detour if we can't get Santa.
Helle's mother turned dramatically to her father, with a bloodshot rage in her eyes.
Just drive. I'm gonna get my dog.
The father knew better than to question his wife. No matter how it was done, she would not be stopped. He firmly pressed down on the accelerator and progressed towards the Mountainside Dog Hotel. A few short hours later, the family vehicle arrived at the Dark Dog Hotel. "They're closed all right," Helle said, in only the way a young woman who preferred the company of other women could. The gang immediately split up. Cage after cage, each member of the family was greeted by wagging tails and sloppy pants of happiness. Although they were happy to see such happy animals, they were not finding their sweet Santa. Almost prepared to give up, Helle got the idea to check behind the second building of the hotel, a small house that seemed more like a management building. As she turned the corner of the small building, there sat her happy Santa. Santa barked with joy as Helle attempted to figure out how to get in the cage area with him. They checked every door and every window. Locked. There was no choice but to break and enter. And that would be much easier for Helle and her sister, due to the fact that they are naturally very small in stature.
Mom, can we please commit a felony?
The two girls pleaded. Without a second to think, the girl's mom nodded in approval. She was going to be taking the long drive home with her dog, any means necessary. The two girls scaled the fence and landed in the yard with their sweet old dog.
Santa, we missed you!
The girls cheered as they gave him all the pets and kisses. Not only did they have their dog back, but they also spotted a latch in the gate that they could have used to get in. This made it much easier to bring their dog out. The girls and their dog emerged from the cage feeling like heroes.
But where's his special blanket?
Their mom asked. Helle knew her criminal activity was not done just yet. Each dog cage connected to the building had a dog door that allowed them to go inside of the building. Helle turned around, got down on her knees, and entered the building through the dog door. In total blackness, Helle could not see a thing. To make matters worse, the loss of sight was causing her to focus on her sense of smell. This building had the strongest and worst odor she had ever allowed to enter her nostrils.
Yuck.
Guided by the small flashlight of her cell phone, she began to look for Santa's special blanket. She checked through filing cabinets, important folders, food buckets, everywhere. The blanket could not be found. 30 minutes of flipping the majestic dog hotel upside down turned up no blanket. Helle exited the dog door and returned to her family. Although it was not a complete success for Helle, her mom could not be happier to have her dog back. The family took the rest of the drive home feeling like winners, but also feeling a little rebellious for having stolen their own dog.
We are so bad.
Sadly, the following summer, Santa passed of old age. But Hella and her family never forgot all of the years of joy they had together. From entering the family as a golden-haired little pup who taught Hella how to love, to becoming an old dog who taught her entire family how to become petty criminals. We can all agree that Santa brought many memories and lessons that their family will never forget.
Oh my God. Do you have a picture of her dog?
I do. Give me just a quick second.
Okay, because I'm like, I need to see this precious baby. Oh my God. What a sweetheart.
Yeah, he's a cute little golden guy.
Oh my.
We'll definitely post pictures.
Oh my goodness. I would have definitely become a petty criminal for that pup.
Yeah, and just so people know, his name is spelled Zanto, but from what I understood from Hella, it's another one of those where I'm pretty sure I'm getting the pronunciation correctly, but I'm pretty sure it said Santa.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I was like, did they name him after Santa Claus? But
No.
then when you explained that to me, how it was spelled, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was very chill with me and said, if you can't pronounce it, you can call me whatever you want. You can call the dog whatever you want. And I was like, no, I want to try to be... I would rather just butcher it instead. Let's just go with that.
Yeah. I'm very interested to hear how you did from her. Like, did I say all that right? I hope so. I get it. When you get a listener story, you want it to be as accurate and you want to do it justice. And I think you did. And wow, that little doggy hotel on the side of a mountain. It sounded really nice until the end. Him by poolside with a mojito sounded amazing.
Yeah, I did make that part up, but the mountainside part was real.
Yeah,
I can only imagine what that would be like.
It sounds really cool, but that is so weird that they were like, sorry, can't get your dog today. We're going to go to what did you call it?
A barn party.
A barn party?
Yeah, they were just going to go drinking in a barn somewhere, so they closed early.
Wow. I don't know if that's common in Norway, but I don't think so.
I'm thinking maybe it was just managed by teens that day, or it's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, I'm like, a barn party? What in the world?
Yeah.
The dogs are much more important.
Yeah, I mean, especially when it's somebody who prepaid or something, at least have one employee hang back and make sure they get it or something.
Yeah.
Or split away and come back.
And I assume they never went back. They never took Santa back there.
No.
Yeah.
Never went back and they never got their blanket back.
Oh, his special blankie.
Yeah.
Where were they keeping that thing?
Yeah, was it like so special that they were letting some other dog use it?
Oh, hell no.
Better not.
That's a crime right there.
Yeah.
Nothing could stop me from wanting to have my animals, so I get it, and I respect it. And I'm really glad that they discovered the latch to the fence, because what were they going to do? Throw him over? I mean, he's not a small dog.
Yeah, my only guess was maybe they were going to try to go through the building anyway and come out the front door.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, getting him out would have been very tough.
Oh my God. They're like, okay, you grab his front legs, I'll grab his back, and they swing him over.
Yeah, or they try to climb and hold him like Spider-Man or something.
Oh my God. Well, I'm so glad they had so many good memories with their pup.
Yes, and Helle will actually be our Fur Baby Friday this Friday with her current dog.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Which is a very interesting looking dog. I've never seen a dog like this before, so.
Okay. I'm intrigued. You covered it, multiple times, but yeah, if anyone listening hasn't sent us their fur baby to be posted, and we say Fur Baby Friday, but we've also had, didn't we have like, we've had bunnies, we've had cats, we've had dogs, but we did have an alligator one time. I'm trying to think if we've had any other animals that don't have fur.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be a fur baby, although we prefer things we can cuddle. We'll post anything.
Yeah, so send us pictures of your pets if you haven't already. But wow, what a good story. And thank you so much, Helle. I hope that we pronounced everything correctly for you. And gosh, how cool that you're from Norway.
Yeah, thanks for listening, and spread the love up there in Norway. Get some more of your peeps listening.
Yeah, that is so damn cool. Well, great job, Trevin. It's tough when you're questioning your pronunciation, but you did a good job.
Yeah, and as always, if anybody has a listener story they want to send in.
Oh, yeah, we love them. We love them. So I just so happen to have a story to tell as well.
Oh, you don't say.
So my story is from the news. And you know what? We've talked about this time and time again, how our Google searches are just becoming super bizarre. I don't know what made me look up this specific type of crime, and I'm not going to tell you what it was till afterwards. But this was the only one that I found that had anything to do with what I was looking for. And like I also said, William Shatner, you know, the way he just kind of talks and describes like spooky things, really, I mean, I don't know if it'll come across, but he inspired this writing. So here we go. Respect your elders. This is an order we've all been given whenever we show any distaste for an old person. I'm not sure where this phrase comes from or why it is used so much. Maybe it is assumed that because a person has remained alive for so many years, they have an abundance of wisdom. Or maybe people using this phrase just want to remain in the old person's will.
Tell Grandpa Moneybags thanks for the fat check.
I'm not saying that we can't learn from our elders. Quite the opposite. Old folks tell us stories from back in their day that make us grateful for our own lives. And even though they can sometimes be judgmental, they always have the best hard candy.
I don't even care that you called me feminine.
While we can learn from our elders, do they truly always deserve our respect? What happens when one of these elders is a petty criminal? Audrey Yandel was a petite 70-year-old grandmother living in Atlanta, Georgia in January of 2005. She owned a humble 2-bedroom home where only herself and her cat Stitch lived. To those who stepped inside her house, it appeared to be a typical residence of an older woman. Thick floral wallpaper lined the border of her walls. A grandfather clock stood proudly in the corner of her living room, and soap operas were frequently playing on her television.
Honey, I'm pregnant, and it belongs to the dentist.
Audrey had few friends and family, but she often invited her loved ones to come over and enjoy a toffee or a puzzle. Although she was a pleasant enough host, all those who entered Audrey's home were aware of one strictly enforced rule. No one, absolutely no one, was to enter her spare bedroom. You see, Audrey appeared as a kind grandmother to those that knew her, but she was hiding a deep, dark secret. Late at night, when she was all alone, Audrey grabbed her spare bedroom's key and unlocked the door. Flicking on the light, the room lit up, exposing her ominous desires. Her criminal collection had continued to grow, and it was beginning to consume her life. Like a vampire thirsting for blood, Audrey couldn't get enough. She was addicted. Addicted to stealing yarn. The yarn completely consumed Audrey's spare bedroom. From deep reds to creamy tans, and any and all colors in between, the threads varied. Bunches and balls of wrangled material laid lifeless and untouched, forming a hoarder's reality. Scattered throughout the yarn were Audrey's weapons of choice, knitting needles. Formed from wood, metal, and plastic, these needles eerily poked out of the heaps of yarn, almost as if to warn off anyone who dare get close. Audrey sighed as she looked around at what her weakness for illegally acquiring yarn had created. She had managed to make it weeks without shoplifting, but she didn't know how much longer she could fight the urge. The following morning, Audrey woke up to her cat Stitch meowing and pawing repeatedly at her face. When she looked at her cat, she immediately realized why he was so antsy. Tied clumsily around his back legs and tail was a thick strand of turquoise yarn.
This must be a sign,
thought Audrey. It was time. Time to get crafty. Around town, Audrey was already beginning to gain a reputation, so she had to keep her excitement of new yarn down to a reasonable level. She walked into a local specialty store called Two Sticks with a large bag in hand. She quickly walked past the racks of handmade clothing, woven wool bags, and hand-dyed angora, aiming straight towards the back wall. The wall, which held shelves full of expensive and desirable yarn. As soon as Audrey made it to the back of the store, she began shoving spools of yarn into her large bag. Trying not to appear suspicious, Audrey wrapped her arms tightly around the bag and quickly ran towards the front door and into her car. Little did Audrey know, she had appeared extremely suspicious, and a store employee jotted down her license plate number as she escaped. During this particular yarn heist, Audrey made off with $300 of stolen materials and was ultimately arrested. Just a few months later, while she awaited her punishment, Audrey did what any crafty criminal would do. She stole more knitting equipment. This time, Audrey walked into another local yarn shop and put multiple knitting needles into her bag. Unfortunately for Audrey, the owner of the shop had seen a photo of her circulating online throughout the yarn community and caught her thread-handed. In total, Audrey Yandel has been convicted 12 times in the past 20 years. Most of these crimes involved stealing yarn. As a serial yarn thief, Audrey was sentenced to a year in prison for repeated shoplifting and will remain on probation for 6 years after her release. Worst of all, she is now forbidden from entering any specialty store that sells yarn. One of Audrey's victims, and a store owner, Sharon, was quoted by saying,
No, she can't be a true knitter. It's a sickness. What can you do with all that yarn?
while Audrey's attorney reassured the public, saying his client had suffered from a compulsive behavior disorder and has sought psychiatric help. Audrey's crimes clearly follow a pattern that pierces the yarn community's hearts like a needle. So what are we to make of a 79-year-old grandmother becoming a serial shoplifter? As an elder criminal, does she still deserve our respect? One thing is for certain. Audrey's deep yearning for yarn has impacted the wholesome spirit of knitting forever.
Oh, what a tangled thread we weave. Okay, I gotta ask my first follow-up question.
Okay.
So, what did you Google this? Were you Googling yarn crimes?
Yes.
What, really?
I don't remember my exact Google thing, but it had to do with yarn or sewing or something random like that. And I don't know why. I have no passion myself for yarn. I don't judge anyone who does, but when I stumbled upon this story, it was just so good.
So, are we just to the point in our relationship where you're just looking at things in the room and then just Googling it with crime? You're like, vacuum crime.
No, it was like there was nothing of yarn in my vision. I don't even know where it came from, but I was like, you know what? It would be really funny if someone had a yarn stealing spree or something. And by golly, there was a woman. And not only was it a woman, it was a 70-year-old woman that for 20 years had gone on a yarn stealing spree.
That is so long.
I really don't know where it came from. I think I was just thinking of our cross-stitch design, or if I was thinking of older women or old people that committed crimes, but it came to me and I Googled it and I stumbled upon this and I was like, holy shit. So obviously I don't know why she did it. I don't know if she actually made things with the yarn. There were only 2 articles for this whole crime as well that I found. But a lot of people were like, what was she doing with all this yarn? She stole just that much. So in my interpretation, she has this whole creepy room dedicated to it. I don't know. But the whole quote from her attorney and from the store owner, which I found to be particularly hilarious, when she said, "Oh, she's not a true knitter. No way." That just was so funny to me.
20 years worth, though. I would think she has a room for it.
There has to be. I mean, yeah, and it wasn't like she was just stealing like one spool. Everything that I could find, she was stealing a lot of really expensive yarn. I mean, $300 worth? I don't know how much it usually costs, but that's quite a lot of money.
Yeah. Oof.
So Audrey Yandel, she's quite the character. And another unfortunate thing is because there was such little information on this crime, I found one picture of a news article, but it's like really pixelated online and blurry. I can't find any photos of Audrey. I'm going to keep digging and see if I can find some eventually to post online, but yeah, it was such a small petty crime that there wasn't a lot of information on it, but I just thought it was so funny.
That's real small. It's almost like microscopic.
Yeah, I know.
I have a connection, but I don't know if it's what you had in mind.
My connection was that there were both pets involved.
That's fine. Yep.
Which, unfortunately, that was another thing that I made up. I don't know if she had a cat named Stitch. But
I just put it together that Stitch has to do with... I was thinking Lilo and Stitch this whole time. I was like, that's cute.
No. Oh my God, my headphones just fell off. No, and there's actually a lot of like really vague hidden sewing and crafting jokes in there that I don't even know if people will notice.
Oh, I got the thread-handed. Don't
yes,
you worry.
thread-handed. That was definitely one. But like even at the end when I'm like, she followed a pattern. It's like that is a thing that I don't know if people will get either. But I tried, okay?
God. It makes me think of when I did that Mona Lisa one. I put in that little reference to Whistler's mother. I'm like, nobody's going to get that. That's a stupid art reference.
I know. I went to art school and I still was like, what's that painting or what's that piece of art?
Yeah.
I probably should have known it. But yeah, my connection was the pets thing.
So pets. Petty crimes.
Exactly. Oh my God. Well, yeah, they were completely different, but I guess animals were kind of involved in all the making of these petty crimes, and we love them. We love those fur babies.
Yeah, we love them and we love our crimes.
Well, I hope everyone's having a great week out there. Thank you all for listening and for sending us your stories. And like we say all the time, definitely keep sending those in. And just remember, no matter the crime, big or small, in the end, we're all doomed.
Doomed, so doomed.
Trevin needs a nap, everyone. Bye.
See ya.
Thank you all for listening to our show. And if you have an identical twin, let them know about it.
If you want to see more of our fur baby photos or maybe even some horse facts, why don't you follow us on social media? Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're there. And you know we're everywhere.
And if you have a grandmother who's a petty criminal, send us your stories to seriouslysinisterpodcast@gmail.com.
And leave us a 5-star review wherever you can leave reviews. Tell me about a mountainside dog hotel that you visited once. The family vehicle arrived at the Dark Dog Hotel. "They're closed, all right," Hilla said, in only the way a young woman who preferred the company of other women could. Wink.